thinks would be the best gift. He's completely unaware that he just picked out his own retirement gift, a gold wristwatch. Have you ever planned a surprise party for someone?
Which do you prefer? Receiving a surprise gift or choosing your own gift? Listen to the passage and summarize it. Robots are becoming more common in our daily lives. Every home may have a robot helper in as little as 10 years. These housebots can perform a variety of tasks. They can separate your recyclables, brew your morning coffee, and even take the family dog out for a walk. And homes aren't the only places where robots are becoming a familiar feature. Robots are also helping at schools around the world. Children who are recovering from an illness or are too sick to go to school can now attend their classes through a robot intermediary. The robot will record and share the class via live video to the student at home, and the teacher and student can interact through the robot.
Do you agree with the statement that there will be housebots in 10 years?
What would it be like to live a life aided by robots?
Do you agree that robots are becoming more common in our lives?
What are the pros and cons of robots becoming more common in our lives?
Do you agree with the statement that there will be housebots in 10 years?
What would it be like to live a life aided by robots?
Do you agree that robots are becoming more common in our lives?
What are the pros and cons of robots becoming more common in our lives? Listen to the passage and summarize it.
Doug is trying to rent an apartment. He is negotiating with a realtor and a real estate agency. He has saved up enough money to pay the $1,800 security deposit, and he can pay up to $600 a month for the rent. The realtor tells Doug that he needs to pay a larger security deposit if he wants to keep the rent under $700. The average cost of rent in the neighborhood is $750 per month, and utilities are not included. Doug responds by saying that he does not have enough money saved up for a larger deposit, and his monthly budget is limited. He still needs money to cover the utilities. A friend at work is looking for a roommate, but Doug would prefer to live alone. What is the most important factor you consider when choosing a place to live?
Do you prefer to live alone or with roommates?
What is the most important factor you consider when choosing a place to live?
Do you prefer to live alone or with roommates? Do you know what influences our well-being?
반갑습니다.
What music do you enjoy the most?
화이팅 하겠습니다.
Do you tend to listen to music
화이팅
before you
하십시오.
sleep?
Do you believe music lowers your stress level?
화이팅입니다.
Have you ever ridden a motorcycle with or without a helmet?
Have you ever gotten into an accident on a motorcycle?
Motorcycle accidents are becoming more and more dangerous. What are some measures we can take to prevent motorcycle accidents?
Do you connect with others on social networks?
What are the pros and cons of communicating with people using social networking? Listen to the passage and summarize it.
Getting enough sleep is a key part of living a healthy lifestyle, and it is just as important as exercising regularly and eating well. Thus, getting a full night's rest should be a top priority if you want to live a healthy life. Health professionals have discovered numerous benefits of achieving the recommended hours of sleep. First, it improves both productivity and concentration. Second, sufficient sleep makes people more socially
어제도
and
그렇고
heightens their emotional intelligence.
오늘도 이제
And finally, getting plenty of sleep is a great defense against depression. In a
백신
study that
맞고 이제
investigated deaths by suicide over 10 years, it was concluded that a shortage of
부작용으로
sleep was a factor in many of the cases.
돌아가신 분들이 지금
How many hours of sleep do you get a day?
거의
Do you agree that getting enough sleep is directly related to your healthy life?
뉴스에 나오는데
What can be caused by lack of sleep?
What
참
can
이게
a lack of sleep lead to?
애매한 것 같습니다.
How many hours of sleep do you get a day?
Do you agree that getting enough sleep is directly related to your healthy life?
What can be caused by lack of sleep?
저는 이제
What can a lack of sleep lead to?
백신 맞았지만
What do you use the internet for?
만약 지금까지 안 맞고
What are the advantages and disadvantages of using the internet?
있었다면
In what ways has the internet improved our lives?
아마
Have you ever been a victim of crime on the internet?
안 맞지 않았을까.
What are some positives and negatives of the internet in our society?
너무 무고한
Do you
사람들이
think you're addicted to the internet?
Do you believe that the internet has brought a lot of benefits to our society? How do you think technological advances changed the way people communicate?
First, the internet allows people to communicate with each other digitally. So people can now contact friends and families around the world anywhere at any time without trouble. However, people tend not to interact in person nowadays. I'm afraid it might ruin relationships. What new technology have you been using daily at work or at home? What new technology have you been using daily at work or at home? Do you think the technological advances have made people's life more comfortable?
What are some drawbacks to the technology advances? Tell me about table manners in your country. Are there any etiquette or manners in your country that you think are not very necessary? Tell me about your opinion on the culture of new neighbors sharing their food when they first move in. Can you please tell us about some of your country's unique cultures that foreigners should be aware of before visiting your country for the first time? In terms of sharing feedback, some people do it directly while others are indirect. Please tell me about your preference between the two. Tell me about your preference between family life and single life.
What are the advantages and disadvantages of studying abroad?
Many companies now offer telecommuting jobs to increase work efficiency. What are the pros and cons of telecommuting?
Have you thought of a place you would like to visit for your next vacation? Would you rather use cash or credit cards? When compared to the past, have gender roles in the household changed much in your country? How have they changed?
Tell me about your opinion on the culture of new neighbors sharing their food when they first move in. Imagine you just won the lottery. How would you spend the money?
Tell me about a policy you would want to change the most.
Question 7. Can you tell me about one of your colleagues that you like to work with? Question 8. What would you do after you retire? Question 4. What do you usually do on traditional holidays in your country? Question 7. What do you like to do with your smartphone? Question 6. Do you think it is helpful for students to go to private institutes after school? Question 2. Do you think it is okay to allow children to use smartphones? Question 6. Do you think internet advertisements are effective? Why or why not? Question 7. Tell me about the advantages or disadvantages of internet banking. Question 6. Why do you think small weddings are getting more popular in Korea? Question 1. Do you agree that fast food is not good for our health? Why or why not? Question 6. What do you think is the ideal vacation? Please talk about it in detail. Question 7. Why do you think some people prefer texting rather than making phone calls? Question 2. Please summarize this passage. You will listen to this passage twice. Starbucks began as a small coffee company in 1971. And in 1981, Howard Schultz noticed this small company. He tried to create a unique atmosphere for Starbucks. With this successful strategy, Starbucks improved rapidly, and now it has thousands of stores all over the world. Starbucks began as a small coffee company in 1971. And in 1981, Howard Schultz noticed this small company. He worked for a company that made kitchen equipment, and he was curious about Starbucks because they ordered a large number of coffee makers. After he met the owners of Starbucks, he wanted to join them. Finally, he was hired in 1982 and tried to create a unique atmosphere for Starbucks. With this successful strategy, Starbucks improved rapidly, and now it has thousands of stores all over the world. Question 6. Do you think internet advertisements are effective? Why or why not? Question 2. Question 1. Please tell me about yourself.
The government has made it illegal to smoke in most public areas. Tell me about your opinion on this matter.
Question 2. What are your strengths and weaknesses?
What are the advantages and disadvantages of studying abroad?
Question 3. If you could change one thing about your personality, what would it be?
Many companies now offer telecommuting jobs to increase work efficiency. What are the pros and cons of telecommuting?
Tell me about the advantages and disadvantages of taking online courses.
Question 5. What do you usually do on the weekends? Question 6. Where are you living now? And what type of housing do you live in?
식사를
These days, we can see a lot of people who are addicted to SNS. Why are they addicted to it? Question 5. What do you think is the best way to protect personal information on the internet? Question 7. Tell me about the advantages or disadvantages of internet banking.
인터넷 뱅킹.
Question 1. Do you agree that Korea has a convenient public transportation system?
허블리.
Question 3. What do you think of the traditional hierarchical system of Korean companies?
우리가 건물.
Question 5. What are the differences between Korean food and Western food? Question 1. Do you agree that fast food is not good for our health? Why or why not?
홈플러스.
Question 2. What do you think people should do to stay healthy? Question 3. Please introduce one of the famous tourist attractions in your country.
Sample.
Question 6. What do you think is the ideal vacation? Please talk about it in detail.
Was there a time when your day or schedule was affected by the weather?
Test 2. Question 1. Which method do you use more often for business contact? Phone or email? Question 2. Imagine that you were overcharged when making a purchase online. What would you do? Question 3. Which type of computer do you use the most among the ones below? Question 4. Which type of computer do you use the least? Question 5. Listen to the following passage and summarize it. In order to acquire more knowledge, more and more people are deciding to go abroad to further their education.
말도 된다.
There are some advantages of studying in a foreign country. For one, studying abroad can provide a good language environment for students to immerse themselves and make it easier to pick up a language. Language skills are essential for communication today. This practical experience can remove language barriers so that students can master their second or even third language. Question 6. What can we do to prevent environmental pollution in our daily life? Test 10. Question 1. If a friend asked you to suggest some places to visit in Seoul, what would you recommend? Question 2. What do you think makes a good leader? Question 3. Sell this product. Question 4. When you need to search for information, which search engine do you use the most frequently? Question 5. Listen to the following passage and summarize it. The omiyage culture in Japan is a big deal, and it takes a little bit of getting used to. An omiyage is a gift or souvenir you give to friends, coworkers, and family after returning home from a trip. Omiyage is so much more than just an edible souvenir, though. Omiyage boxes are brightly colored and contain individually wrapped snacks, perfect for sharing. Omiyage is serious business. It can be a social taboo if your coworkers know you went on a weekend trip, but you show up to the office on Monday without anything. Question 6. Do you bring presents home from a business trip? Test 6. Question 1. When is your most cheerful moment during the day? Question 2. If one of your friends went abroad but did not like living in that particular country, what advice would you give him or her?
Question 3. Compare and contrast these two pictures. Question 4. Which one do you prefer?
think you can deal with stress at work? Question 4. If you were to take a trip overseas, which country would you like to visit the most? Question 5. Describe this picture.
Tell me about your favorite place in your house.
What is a typical routine you follow at your office? What is a typical routine you follow at your office?
How do you get to work? Do you use any type of transportation to commute to work? How do you get to work? Do you use any type of transportation to commute to work? Which of the following public transportation systems do you prefer? The bus or the subway?
I prefer to take the subway because there's no traffic.
Which of the following public transportation systems do you prefer? The bus or the subway?
I prefer to take the subway because there's no traffic. What are some things you always remember to bring when you go on a trip? What are some things you always remember to bring when you go on a trip?
Can you please recommend a famous Korean TV show?
I recommend watching A because it's funny, so you can laugh a lot.
Can you please recommend a famous Korean TV show?
I recommend watching A because it's funny, so you can laugh a lot. What is your favorite food for breakfast?
My favorite food for dinner is ramyun because it's easy to make and delicious.
What is your favorite food for breakfast?
My favorite food for dinner is ramyun because it's easy to make and delicious. Tell me about your favorite place in your house. Tell me about your favorite place in your house.
What are some things you do in order to stay healthy?
Can you please tell me how you get rid of your stress? Can you please tell me how you get rid of your stress? How often do you meet your friends?
Honestly, I don't meet my friends as often as I used to because I'm tied up with my work. How do you maintain good relationships with your coworkers? How do you maintain good relationships with your coworkers? How do you maintain good relationships with your coworkers?
Was there a time when your day or schedule was affected by the weather?
Can you please tell me about the worst trip you have ever had?
Tell me about your last weekend. Did anything special happen?
Could you please recommend a place in your country that I should visit? Could you please recommend a place in your country that I should visit? Tell me about a policy you would want to change the most.
Listen to the passage and summarize it.
Sandy was an unmotivated student who always put off studying for a test until the last minute. Her mother always scolded her for not taking her studies more seriously, and Sandy would promise to improve her habits, but she never did. Then, one day, she went to school and was surprised to learn that there was an important test the next day. She didn't have enough time to study, so she got a very low score on the test. In order to pass the class, she had to do a lot of extra work for her teacher, and it was very stressful. After that experience, she decided to finally change her ways.
Do you tend to procrastinate? Have you ever procrastinated on a task until the last minute? Listen to the passage and summarize it. Crawford is a growing city with nearly 1 million residents. There are many reputable companies in the city, so unemployment is low, and most people enjoy a comfortable standard of living. There are also many
반갑습니다.
Our Department of Transportation has asked companies within the city to organize carpooling systems for its employees to
맞아.
deal with this issue.
Are you satisfied with where you live? Is the public transportation in your city well organized? Do you prefer to use public transportation or your own vehicle when you travel around your city?
Listen to the passage and summarize it.
John and Casey have worked together for several years, and now Casey has volunteered to plan John's retirement. She wants it to be a surprise, so she is planning it secretly. However, there is one issue. John will serve an expensive retirement plan, but if the party is a surprise, he won't be able to choose it. So, Casey
Cinema
wants to
notes.
figure out which
Yeah,
gift
they're
is
in-
usual. Casey simply makes a list of possible gifts to show John, telling him that she is picking out a gift for her father's birthday, and she would appreciate John's advice. John happily agrees to help, and after looking over the list, he selects what he thinks would be the best gift. He's completely unaware that he just picked out his own retirement gift, a gold wristwatch. Have you ever planned a surprise party for someone?
330개.
Which do you prefer? Receiving a surprise gift or choosing your own gift? Listen to the passage and summarize it. Robots are becoming more common in our daily lives.
예.
Every home may have a robot helper in
병원에
the past 10 years. These
웃겨가지고
house
나가야
bots
되겠다.
perform a variety of tasks.
운동하고
They can separate your recyclables,
바로 가야 되겠다.
morning coffee, and even take the family dog out for a walk. And homes aren't the only places where robots are becoming a familiar feature. Robots are also helping in schools around the world. Children who are recovering from an illness or are too sick to go to school
아침에
now attend their classes
밥을
through a
안 먹고
robot intermediary.
했더만
The robot will record and share the class via live video
약간-
with the student at home, and the teacher and student can interact through the robot.
몸이
Do you agree with the statement
다른
that there
몸을
will be housebots in 10 years?
깠습니다.
What would it be like to live a life aided by robots?
어휴,
Do you agree that robots are becoming more common in our lives?
What are the pros and cons of robots becoming more common in our lives?
오,
Do you agree
진짜요?
with the statement that there will be housebots
배경원에
in
먹는
10
거예요?
years?
What would it be like to live a life aided by robots?
오,
Do you agree that
봐봐.
robots are becoming more common in our
아이고.
lives?
이글모님이 전자음성 너무 빨라잉, 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 전자음성 너무 빨라잉.
Listen to the passage and summarize it.
Doug is trying to
Come on,
rent
man.
an apartment. He is negotiating with a realtor and a real estate agency. He has saved up enough money to pay a $1,800 security deposit, and he can pay up to $600 a month for the rent. The realtor tells Doug that he needs to pay a larger security deposit if he wants to keep the rent under $700. The average cost of rent in the neighborhood is $750 per month, and utilities are not included. Doug responds by saying that he does not have enough money saved up for a larger deposit, and his monthly budget is limited. He still needs money to cover the utilities. A friend at work is looking for a roommate, but Doug would prefer to live alone. What is the most
이글모님이 이거
important
전자음성
factor you
유튜브에서 하는
consider
건가요?
when
아니면
choosing a
비쌀
place
수
to live?
있을 연결?
Do you prefer to live
아니요.
alone or with roommates?
유튜브는 이거
What is
기능이
the most
없더라고요.
important factor you
그래갖고
consider when choosing a
저기
place to live?
인터넷에
Do
이제
you prefer to live alone
아프리카
or with
도우미
roommates?
검색하니까는
Do you
이제
think music influences
다른
our
플랫폼도
well-being?
전자음성
What
되게끔
music do you enjoy the most?
해주는 게 있어가지고
Do you tend to listen to music before going to sleep?
요즘에는
Do you believe music
유튜브만
lowers your stress level?
송출하고 있습니다.
Have you ever ridden a motorcycle with
아프리카
or without a
TV에
helmet?
이상한 사람이 계속
Into
하면
a
따라와갖고 예.
motorcycle?
발바닥을 보여주면은
Motorcycles are becoming more and more dangerous.
제 발바닥을 보여주면 별풍선을 쏜다고 맨날 며칠 계속 그러는 겁니다. 발바닥 보여달라고 계속.
빅글님이 영어 발음 소리 내내 목소리가 안 들리는데
What are
인터넷
the
공부
pros and
장비가
cons of communicating with people using social networking?
공부가 잠깐 안 되고 있어갖고.
Listen to the passage and summarize it.
Getting sleep is a key part.
아니, 아프리카 TV 이제 동시 송출할 때 어떤 사람이 발바닥을 보여주면 이제 별풍선 쏘겠다는 겁니다. 근데 그게 처음에는 그냥 무시했는데 할 때마다 계속 들어와서 발바닥 보여달라고 그래갖고 그러면 좀 무섭더라고요. 분위기가 무서워갖고 그건 앞으로
빅글님이 앉아서
아프리카는 앞으로 안 하겠습니다.
빅글님이 좀 이상한 취향.
무섭더라고요 이거.
빅글님이 블랙리스트로 올려버려서
근데 이게 동시 송출할 때는 핸드폰으로 그게 안 되는지 없더라고요. 저는 PC가 없어가지고 핸드폰으로만 하는데
빅글님이 블랙리스트로 올리면 방송 보다요.
발바닥을 보여주면 자기가 10일날 월급을 받았는데 그거 다 내주겠다고.
빅글님이 이상한 취향이죠.
처음에는 웃기다가 자꾸 그러니까 무섭더라고요. 그래가지고 아프리카는 제 앞에 있습니다.
빅글님이 남자한테 발바닥 보여달라.
세상에는 참 다양한 사람들이 많은 것 같습니다. 아, 402개 했고에 나머지는 이제 논스톱으로 가보겠습니다. 사람 탔네. 멈추면 못한다. 멈추면 못한다. 멈추면 못한다. 멈추면
빅글님이
뭐다? 멈추면 못한다. 원스톱 가보자. 멈추면 못한다. 멈추면 못한다. 멈추면 못한다. 멈추면 못한다.
대굴모님이 멈추면 내 남자 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 멈추면 내 남자
멈추면 좆된다. 멈추면 좆된다. 멈추면 원한다. 멈추면 원한다. 멈추면 원한다. 멈추면 원한다.
대굴모님이 멈추면 내 남자 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 멈추면 내 남자
멈추면 진짜 좆된다. 멈추면 좆된다. 멈추면 원한다. 멈추면 원한다. 멈추면 원한다. 멈추면
대굴모님이 멈추면 죽된다 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 멈추면 죽된다
멈추면 못한다. 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 멈추면 못한다.
대굴모님이 30대 파워를 보여주세요 30대 파워를 보여주세요
파워를 보여줄 수가 없습니다. 파워가 없습니다. 지금 450개 돌파. 450개 돌파. 30대는
대굴모님이 아빠 파워
힘이 없다. 힘이 없어. 죽었다. 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 멈추면 원한다.
꿀모님이 와시 폴로지 운동 생방 중인데 버킹이 끝나면 가지고
돌로지 보러 가야 되는데 앞으로
대굴모님이 폴로지는 못 참지
참자. 앞으로 35개. 멈추면 못한다. 빨리 하고 시작. 빨리 하고 시작. 빨리 하고 시작. 빨리 하고 비타민 D가 도착해갖고 아직 뜯어갖고 바로 먹고. 근데 그게 하루에 4,000ml 보통 먹으라고들 하는데 그거는 하나에 5,000원.
일본 브이로그 어떤
개봉 브이로그 벌써 했습니다. 다시 재개봉 브이로그 해야 되는데. 근데 그게 하나에 5,000원이더라고요.
개굴원님이
좀 넘치는 것 같은데. 인신 육수 좋게 비타민 D를
개굴원님이 뭐 사셨죠?
많이 담아놨네. 그거 캘리포니아 골드 그거 샀어요. 자.
개굴원님이 한 개씩.
오늘 500개 완료했습니다.
개굴원님이 5,000짜리를 사셨군요.
5천짜리 그거만 90% 할인해서 1,000원 얼마 하던데. 배구모님도 샀잖아요. 얘. 내만 샀나? 오마이갓. 오늘 너무 고맙습니다. 진짜요? 저 비타민 D, 비타민 C 그거 네.
비타민 C 샀는데 저는
아 진짜요? 저다 샀거든요 이거 있는데. 이게 매일 여기 청소를 하니까는 이 타일이 약간 소실공사인가 봐요. 계속 그렇게 됩니다. 타일 그리고 접착. 그러니까요. 이제 무료교통이 아니네. 오늘 여기까지 하겠습니다. 고맙습니다. 식사 맛있게 하시고 다음에 또 뵙겠습니다. 고맙습니다.